Hello everyone, my name's Adam or EposVox, and welcome to my review of the Logitech G502 Proteus Core Gaming Mouse. Now, I would like to send my huge thanks and apologies to Logitech for sending me this mouse probably 2 months ago now. I've never done a mouse review before, and I wanted to make sure I did the best job I could do, given that it's something that I haven't reviewed before. I didn't have pre-established review criteria, anything like that, and it took me a little while to get used to the mouse. But here's my review. Thanks to them for being patient with me, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Logitech's G series gaming products are usually pretty fantastic for general use gaming. I've reviewed their G13 advanced game board, their G430 surround sound headset, and I've used a couple of their keyboards and a lot of their G series products, and I'm usually pretty impressed. The Proteus Core gaming mouse is their attempt to move away from the the G blah 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 numbering system for their products and actually have names for them. So while yes, it technically is the G502, it's also the Proteus Core, and they're wanting to move more towards the Proteus Core naming system instead of G502. Just makes it a little bit more user-friendly. The Proteus Core features a number of firsts for gaming mice in general. It has a 12,000 DPI sensor on the mouse, and yes, that is over 9,000.
It's over 9,000! What? 9,000?!
But that's just insane. The last mouse that I was using for gaming was a 5600 DPI mouse, the Cyborg Rad 5, and I know they've gone a little bit higher than that, but nothing's hit 12,000 before, so that's a first. It's even got surface customization tuning. That was terrible phrasing for that. It's got surface tuning for the laser sensor, so that basically any mouse, it's got preset profiles for specific mouse pads that they have in the software, but then you can make your own profile. Just spin your mouse in a figure 8 over the mouse pad, and it picks up all the nuances of your mouse pad, and you have the laser a bit more fine-tuned for your mouse pad, which is great for me. I was having a lot of trouble with my previous gaming mice and even just a regular desktop mouse, having trouble with certain areas on my mouse pad, reflecting off and just sending, aiming up all over the place. It was ridiculous. So that feature is actually pretty cool. Jumping right into the build quality. Again, Logitech's G products generally have amazing build quality, and the Proteus Core gaming mouse is absolutely no exception. Made of some pretty rugged plastic, just like most gaming products. It also has a light rubberish coating around most of it that provides just a perfect amount of comfort and grip. The crevice where your thumb goes actually has a much thicker textured rubber surface for really good gripping, and the rest is just covered with a very comfortable material. Unlike a lot of gaming mice nowadays, it's actually about the size and general shape of your standard desktop mice. I have an old Logitech and Microsoft desktop mouse, and both of them are about the size and shape of this one. This one's just more, ergonomically curved and cut out to fit your hand a bit better. That being said, that also means it's still a bit on the small side, though not as small as my Rat 5. And so anyone who's used to palming, just full-on palming mice, may have a bit of trouble. This is more of a claw mouse. One of the other firsts that is in this mouse for gaming mice, or at least so they're claiming, is the left and right mouse clickers are completely separate clickers. Usually they're slightly divided, but the overall clicking mechanism is still the same piece of material. This one's completely separate, so you're not going to have, even after hours of use, there's not going to be any risk of left clicking, accidentally right clicking, or just the plastic getting as worn out or anything like that. And all of the clickers, the extra buttons, the left and right clickers, the middle mouse clickers, are made of some really good high quality switches that feel really responsive and really rugged. The weight system. You have, I believe, 6 different weights you can put in the bottom of the mouse. The bottom of it just kind of folds open and you stick them in the crevices allowed for it to add weight to your mouse, which I highly recommend doing because it's actually very, very light without them. And the weights are, of course, just little metal. They're really high quality, and the clasps, the back at the bottom of the mouse that folds open to keep them in there is actually feels really good too. I was really worried about that. I was thinking if you have a door that opens on the bottom of your mouse to put weights in, open it enough times, and I play with it enough that I've opened it way too many times, it's just gonna fall off, and then you're gonna be, every time you pick up your mouse, oh look, the bottom fell out, and then you can't use it, and you gotta, it's got a really strong magnet, it's got good clips on it. I like it. The mouse on the top features a blue Logitech G logo glowing on it. I've had this mouse on for hours upon hours now. Like I said, I've had the mouse for about 2 months and it hasn't even started to fade, which is pretty impressive. They're old G-series keyboards that I used. I had a couple different ones. After a while, the lights started to fade, and so far this one's staying pretty bright. The mouse offers 6 additional buttons on top of your regular left, right, and middle clickers. That are typically assigned to specific purposes, but you can customize them to your liking. That is what people usually call the sniper button on your thumb, which by default lowers the DPI to however much you set. I have it set to the lowest setting, so you go from 12,000 DPI to 200 DPI for really precise clicking. Then you have your typically left and right or back and forward browser buttons. I leave those on back and forth. And then you have 3 buttons that are assigned to adjusting the DPI. I ran into issues with these. The buttons themselves aren't that bad. Like I said, they're all made high quality switches. The buttons themselves are no problem. But I would accidentally hit them while gaming and completely, jump my DPI from 12,000 to whatever and back and forth, and I just couldn't do them, so I had to turn them off. You can reassign them to other commands, but since Logitech gaming software doesn't really allow you to, it doesn't detect the extra buttons as additional mouse buttons, you have to assign them to a key, and I'm not a big fan of that, and so I just disabled the buttons. The 2 next to the back and forward buttons are for moving your DPI up and down scale in your current profile. The one next to your middle mouse button is actually to change profiles. And so I would literally, if I hit the change profile button, I just completely had to alt tab out of the software and change my profile back to actually get it back efficiently where I wanted it. And in game, that is extremely frustrating. With the mouse, you get a nice 6-foot braided USB cable. It's not the same shoestring feeling braided cable that comes on the G430 headset, but it is a nice, soft, and very flexible braided cable, so kudos to them for that. My only issue with the build quality was the middle mouse button. It doesn't feel broken, it doesn't feel like nothing feels wrong with it, but I ended up getting myself killed a lot in shooters, especially Battlefield, with it. Now, the cool thing about, what they consider the cool thing about their mouse is it's kind of etched in like a cog, and so it's got a really rugged and responsive feeling scroll to it, and it has 2 different scroll modes. One's just a regular fast scrolling option, and it's pretty limited. It'll stop on its own, and then if you can hit the button next to it and switch it to free scrolling, where it just rolls with really nice sounding bearings and scroll for as long as possible. And since I have a long bookmarks list in Chrome, it's actually really useful to hit the button and scroll really fast just to get to the bottom. However, the middle mouse button, every time I hit it pretty much, it scrolls one direction or the other. So I'll be running around in Battlefield and go to throw a grenade at someone, and it'll start to throw the grenade, switch weapons on me, and then I'm just standing looking at someone and I get killed. That is very frustrating. Very frustrating. I've yet to find a fix for it. I've yet to find any workaround of it other than just using a different button for grenades. And since in 99% of shooters that you probably play nowadays, you use the middle mouse button for grenades, not exactly something I was looking forward to doing. Performance-wise, this mouse is, of course, amazing. 12,000 DPI is a much more sensitive mouse than I have ever imagined. Of course, my fiance hates it. She's used to regular DPI mice, and every time she touches it, it just like shoots across the screen and she freaks out. But it performs great. I think the real application for a DPI as high as that at this point would be 4K gaming, since you have such a strong amount of pixels per inch on a 4K screen. I think a 12,000 DPI mouse, such as this one, specifically this one, would absolutely be amazing for 4K gaming. I don't have a 4K screen myself. I've been working on getting a hold of one for review, although that's a tad difficult, of course. But as soon as I do, that's certainly going to be something I test. I imagine it's going to be fantastic. It's already great on 1080p, but I just feel like it'd make 4K ideal. The 12,000 DPI did of course take a long time to get used to, especially since the mouse that I was previously using was less than half of that DPI. However, once you get used to it, it's awesome. In shooters, it is just fantastic. Turn down your sensitivity pretty much down to 0, use the 12,000 DPI, and it just performs really well. However, I do have issues when I'm trying to do precise movements or clicks or anything, such as working in Photoshop, and I've tried just using the sniper button to slow it down, and that just throws me off more. And I've had it for 2 months and I can't entirely get used to it for that kind of thing, but I honestly don't know that you will, again, outside of a 4K screen. So take it or leave it. You could always just use a slower DPI mouse or turn the DPI down to what you're used to. That's what I did at first, but then I disabled my DPI buttons, so I just kind of deal with it if I misclick. Control-Z is always right there. The surface tuning option is probably one of the best features of this mouse that will probably go under the radar for a very long time because barely anybody will notice it. And frankly, I barely notice it, but the fact that I barely notice it is what makes it so awesome. Because as soon as I got the software set up and got the mouse set up, I used it and created a profile for my mousepad. It's a Razer Dragon Age 2 mousepad. It's a pretty big one. It's not a huge one, but it's bigger than your standard mousepad. And I had a lot of issues on my Rat 5 where in the lighter areas of the color on it, the laser would like reflect up, I assume, and I would have issues with my view jumping all over the place in shooters. So I made a profile, did the figure 8 across it for my mousepad. I've not had that issue once on this mousepad, and that's absolutely amazing. I've done profiles for a few different mousepads that I also had trouble with, and I've yet to have a bit of trouble. That is just the greatest feature in the world to me, and one that barely anybody may use, but well worth it. And of course you can use this for other surfaces as well. If you just need to use it on your desk or on just about any surface, you can create a profile for it and it will adjust the laser accordingly, which makes it awesome. I just personally use mousepads, but I know a lot of people need to game on other surfaces, and it's a great way to be able to do it. Looking through all the specs and everything I have to say about it, I can confidently say the Logitech G502 Proteus Core gaming mouse is the most technologically superior mouse on the market at the moment, at least gaming mice wise, especially for general use. 12,000 DPI sensor, customizable surface tuning, back button, sniper button, 12,000 DPI! It's a great mouse. It's comfortable, it feels good. However, it took me so long to get used to it that I spent most of my time with it really wanting to go back to my Rat 5. That being said, I'm used to it now, and I will not return to my Rat 5. I will probably stick with this mouse until I get another one. I am used to it now, but it's something that may take you quite a while to get used to and appreciate. It is, like I said, I can confidently say it's the best gaming mouse available right now, and it will honestly only become more useful as 4K and higher resolution displays become more common. So if you think you're going that route in the future, or you just want a future-proof gaming mouse, go for it. I highly recommend it. It's actually not that expensive market price compared to other gaming mice, so you're not losing out on anything. Actually, it's only, I think at the moment it runs recommended price about 80 to 90 bucks, and that's about what I paid for my Rat 5, like 60. So it's a great price for what it is, so I highly recommend it. Just beware, it may take you a little bit to get used to it. This has been my review of the Logitech G502 Proteus Core gaming mouse. Arguably the most technologically advanced gaming mouse on the market right now. Not necessarily advanced per se, maybe just the most technologically superior at the moment. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below if you've used it. Let me know what you think about my reviews, about my channel, whatever. Hope you comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.